Today we're here with Tammy Miller and Ted Corcoran, and they are about to give their presentation here at the Toastmasters International 2010 convention. Tammy, how are you feeling right now going into your presentation?
Very excited, very pumped to be here and doing this.
And what's your presentation about today?
The title of the presentation is Communicating for Personal and Professional Success, and it talks about the foundations of communication. So we'll be talking a little bit about the dynamics of the communication process, communicating effectively. We'll look at some common pitfalls, some personal styles, a lot of different foundational pieces of communication.
Wonderful. And what would you guys say, Ted, what would you say are your three major takeaways from this presentation today?
I would think that effective communication is when the receiver fully understands the idea or information intended by the sender. And that means that you've got to structure it properly, you've got to know what your message and your purpose, and make sure that that's transmitted to the people you're speaking to. And that doesn't happen too often.
Exactly, and a lot of times you're speaking to so many different audience groups. So being at the convention and speaking to people who come from all over the world, how do you tailor your presentation to speak to them and help them understand your presentation of communicating?
Well, know your audience is the first question everybody has to ask when asked to speak. But in our case, they're probably all Toastmasters, so they want to know how to communicate more effectively. So we have really a captive audience today, and we don't have to worry about people with different backgrounds and things.
Wonderful. Now, Tammy, how often do you go out and you speak to different audience groups?
I would say on a professional level about once or twice a week.
Wow. And what different types of groups are you speaking to, professional and personal?
I speak to a lot of audiences. I'm a breast cancer survivor and have a book related to that, so I go out and speak to a lot of women's groups and a lot of breast cancer survivor groups. I also talk about communication skills, so that would go with anybody. So it could be anywhere between a person who's just interested in learning how to give a presentation to someone who might be a little bit more involved in their presentation skills and are looking for a personal coach, so one-on-one coach. So it's all over the board of the type of people that we refer information to.
Wonderful. Now,
but my big thing, of course, is leadership, and that's what I communicate most often on leadership, because communication is such a vital part of leadership. A leader has to have a vision, but that vision is no use unless it's translated back to the people he or she is leading. So that's what I mostly speak of.
Wonderful. And so that's how your presentation is parallel today, more communication, and you're going to talk more about leadership?
No, I'm not. I'm going to talk about communication as an absolutely vital part of leadership.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you for clarifying that. Now, you guys have been Toastmasters for many years, and Toastmasters has changed. Tammy, how have you seen Toastmasters change, and how do you feel about the change in the direction of Toastmasters?
That's a very good question, Katie. I have seen a few changes, not as many as Ted has, obviously, but I've seen a few changes, and I served on the board for a couple of years and really saw the intricate dealings of how our organization is structured, which was so phenomenal. That was a wonderful experience to do that. And I would say that what I've seen happen is we've gone more to, of course, the technology, because technology is now available to us. So that enables us to reach more people around the world. And of course, we've had a lot more membership growth, a lot more club growth. So we're reaching more people and really helping them understand the value of our program, not just the communication side, but as we're building the leadership side too. It has indeed changed my life, and I've seen so many other people's lives changed by it. So the more we can get that word out about what we really do, the better the organization is going to be. And we are heading in that direction because of a lot of the technological changes.
Wonderful. And Ted, how do you feel?
Well, I think it changes in three ways. The culture has changed. We've got a lot more relaxed and more what I would call adjusted to a younger generation, certainly. We have got our technology into the current era, because when I was on the board in 96, 98, I used to receive my board agenda by snail mail because I didn't have an email. Now you can't believe that 12 years later that email has swept the world. And the third thing, of course, is the growth of the Toastmasters outside North America. When I came here first in 1992, we had about 15% of the overall population of Toastmasters. Now it's 35%. So that's huge changes. And of course we've grown from what was usually about 170,000 members a year usually about that. Of course, it went up a bit, went down a bit, to 260,000, and growing very rapidly. So they're the three big changes. When I went to my first board meeting, I had to dress in a suit and a tie and a shirt, and for the whole, even though we were behind closed doors. Now they're smart casual. Everything has become more oriented to, I suppose you could say, modern life.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys for being here today, and I look forward to seeing your presentation along with everybody else.
Well, thank you very much,
Thank
Katie.
you,
We appreciate
Katie.
it.